Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Welcome to Living in the West, a series of episodes where we look into the Muslim minorities in the West, trying to provide some ideas to the vision and strategy that they should be following. I have with me Sheikh Haytham Al-Haddad from the Muslim Research and Development Foundation. Assalamu alaikum, Sheikh.
Alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
In the previous episodes, we've spoken about the importance of a vision for this group of Muslims, a very important group of Muslims. We also spoke about how to conceptualize, how to follow a belief, a vision and strategy. And in the last episode, you came with a formula, a very interesting formula of a matrix. Okay, and this matrix is one following ibadah, tawheed. I think we need to really expand upon this and open this up and explain this a bit further. So could you go forward with this, Sheikh?
Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim, alhamdulillah rabbil alameen, wa salatu wa salam ala ashraf al-anbiya'i wal mursaleen, nabiyina Muhammad wa ala alihi wa sahbihi ajma'in. We said that the main aim and the end goal actually is to establish tawheed and establish ibadah in its total meaning, in its totality. Now, if we want to break that down and we want to go a bit further in terms of the details of this vision or this strategy. By the way, sometimes we are using the word strategy and sometimes we are using the word vision. We don't want to get into the technicalities between the differences between vision and strategy, because within this capacity, within this study, I think all are similar or all are the same.
Okay.
So, in terms of this vision, which is establishing tawheed and establishing ibadah in its totality, we said that we need to establish tawheed on an individual level, and we need also to establish tawheed in a communal
community level.
A community level. Also, we need also to establish tawheed on all spheres of life. So take the individual level, and we need to establish tawheed on all spheres individually. For example, the social life of this individual, the political life of this individual, the economical life of this individual, and so on. Now, on a community level, we need also to establish the same thing. Establish tawheed for the social life of this community, for the political life of this community, the economical life of this community, and so on and so forth. So it is like a matrix. From here, you can say personal versus communal or community, and from that side, you can say from the x-axis, as they say, personal versus communal, and from the y-axis, you can say that it is the all spheres of life, political versus economical versus social, and so on and so forth.
Okay.
Now, the point is, now, this also needs further explanation, and we need also to take the individual and to talk about the spheres that he needs to implement in his life and he needs to be aware of.
So these are the areas that he's involved in, that he needs to now take this tawheed, this concept of tawheed, and implement it in all of these areas.
Yes. But this brings another important issue, which is the priority.
Okay, excellent.
He needs to prioritize the spheres that he needs to be concerned with, as well as the areas that he needs to be influencing. And as you know, in management, there are areas of concerns and there are areas of influence.
That's right, yeah.
Same thing, this is on a personal level, And same thing need to be taken for the communal level or for community level.
Okay.
Now, for an individual level, what is the highest priority for the person? In terms of the areas of concern, the highest priority for him is himself and his family. And the basic of this matter of concern or this area of concern is يا أيها الذين آمنوا قوا أنفسكم وأهليكم نارا. The Quranic verse. Guard yourself and your families from the hellfire. So, and we mentioned also the hadith of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, ابدأ بنفسك ثم بمن تعود. Start with yourself and then start with the other people under your maintenance. This is the first circle from, you can say, the Y angle or from the Y axis. Now from the X axis, which is what kind of spheres? Of course, there are so many spheres. The highest priority is the Tawheed for him and for his family. Tawheed, what do we mean by Tawheed? We mean by Tawheed in this discussion the technical definition of Tawheed, not the Tawheed in its totality as we mentioned in one of the previous episodes. No, we mean here Tawheed in its narrow meaning, in its technical meaning. Now, the basis of this as well is the hadith of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, where he sent Mu'adh ibn Jabal to the people of Yemen. He said, the first thing you start calling them to is what? Ya'budullah. Then the Prophet ﷺ said, فَإِنْهُمْ عَرَفُوا اللَّهِ. عَرَفُوا here means if they knew Allah and they submitted to the oneness of Allah Jalla wa Ala, means they established Tawheed in this meaning, then tell them that Allah Jalla wa Ala commanded them to pray 5 times. If they accept that, then tell them that Allah Jalla wa Ala commanded them to give the charity, the zakah. So, similarly, we should go for this. So, on a personal level, on a Tawheed level, on this meaning, we should make sure that any individual in the West is able to protect his Tawheed and the Tawheed of his direct family. Protecting the Tawheed of himself and the Tawheed of his direct family, what does it mean? This is maybe the point that we need to discuss. What does it mean to protect your Tawheed as an individual and the Tawheed of your family? You know, on a practical level, in some countries, in some Western countries, people may be forced into a situation where they have to participate in the prayers held by other communities or other...
That's actually participating not in the attendance, but actual worship itself.
Yeah, so that needs to be clarified. They have to participate. Now, we need to understand that. What does participation mean? Does it mean attending, for example, a church or a synagogue or a temple? Or does it mean actually participating in the prayers when they start uttering their statements, and then the person is also sharing with them these statements and he is contributing in terms of these prayers? Now, all these prayers, or you can say most of these prayers, involve shirk, kufr. Some of these prayers involve praising Isa alayhi salam as a god or as the son of God. This is kufr. Clear, blatant kufr. No need to discuss it and no need even to bring the adillah, the proofs. This is kufr. So if the person is forced to participate in such prayers where he has to speak the kufr, he has to say the kufr, the shirk, this violates his tawheed, and this goes against the center of his identity. This goes to the highest, this violates the highest priority that this person has.
Which is to safeguard his tawheed.
To safeguard his tawheed. And similarly, in terms of the children and his family, sometimes they take the children to churches, synagogues, etc. And not just to watch, not just to listen, not just to see what other religions do, because these are Western countries, are secular countries. So they are not in favor of teaching children specific religions. No, they are in favor of teaching children all religions. That might be acceptable on a certain level with certain conditions. But for the children to go and participate in the prayers, and the person cannot stop his children from participating in those prayers, this goes against the center of his identity and his family identity, and this violates يا أيها الذين آمنوا قوا أنفسكم وأهليكم نارا وقودها الناس والحجارة.
Okay, I think this is an excellent point for us to stop on, and we'll come back after the break and look more into the personal level of ibadah a person needs to have. Okay, so I'll leave you with Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Huda TV is launching a new website for you, your family and friends. Everyone. A new look, top-level designs and better technology. You will be able to ping Huda TV's new website and read all our articles, surf our video archives, chat live on Huda's forum, vote, support our programs, and give us your suggestions or criticisms. We welcome your thoughts. We strive to please all our viewers worldwide. Huda, a light in every home.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Welcome back to Living in the West. Now, Sheikh, just before the break, we spoke about the individual level, the person, what he needs to do, how he needs to prioritize. And you spoke about the way he needs to prioritize. And the most important thing there, you said, is safeguarding his tawheed. Now, what about other aspects? You spoke about, for example, not being able to worship, not going to a place of worship. What about other aspects which are on a personal level, like education, for example? Nowadays, we have a problem. Well, it's not really a problem, but it's more of a phenomenon where all the religions are taught in the school. How do we go about applying tawheed like this now?
بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين والصلاة والسلام على أشرف الأنبياء والمرسلين نبينا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين. Yes, this is a real problem we all face in the West in terms of education, whether in terms of our children, education to our children, or when education in general, maybe some brothers, some sisters are working in educational field. So in terms of our children, we have to make sure, and this is, brothers and sisters, we need to take this seriously, because this is the center of our identity. We need to make sure that our children understand that we are Muslims, we are different from others. I know people do not like this word, different from others, but in reality we are different from others.
And we're clarifying here that we're not talking about isolating ourselves here.
No. We are not talking physically isolating ourselves, but emotionally, theologically, we should isolate our religion from others' religion. And by the way, this is all religions are doing the same thing. We don't want to quote from what they have said. And the Christians, many of them, they say that they are proud to be Christians, and they are Christians, and they're clearly telling you that they are not Muslims. And in many cases we had neighbors, and we had discussions with others, and even sometimes some brothers, they were very embarrassed when they attended these interfaith dialogue sessions, and the priest there, he said clearly that he is not a Muslim. I respect Islam, but I have some points against Islam, and this, he is proud of his religion, he is proud of his theology, etc. So similarly, we can say this, not because they are saying it, not because they are saying it, but because this is what we believe, and this is what Islam is teaching us, and this is what Allah Jalla wa Ala commanded us to do. هُوَ سَمَّاكُمُ الْمُسْلِمِينَ.
So this is where the starting is, this is where the ground is. We have to make this clear, and really this is, like you're saying, this is again personal and family. It's very important to safeguard the personal and family. And go back to education.
The children.
The children, absolutely.
Very important in terms of the children, because the children, as you know, now we are living in the West, and the second and the third generation is coming, and all of them, or most of them, are being born in the West and taught in the West, raised up in the West, etc. Unlike the first generation. The first generation, maybe they were raised most of their life back home, and they were taught that Islam is the correct religion. It is not that all religions are the same. They were taught that Islam is different from other religions, and they used to believe that they are different. But here, because of this secular education in the West, many children may be confused and maybe they may believe that, well, yes, I am a Muslim, alhamdulillah, that's good. He is a Christian, that's okay.
And this is evident if you go to any primary school or secondary school. In the classrooms, they celebrate all the religious educations all together to give this form of
yes,
we're all equal.
Exactly.
So how do you
go
go
about...
the
children, the parents, they have to make sure that their children understand the principle of Tawheed, the principle of Al-Islam. What is Al-Islam? What is the difference between Al-Islam and Christianity? What is the difference between Al-Islam and Judaism? What is the difference between Al-Islam and Hinduism, etc.? This is very important. Brothers and sisters, take this seriously, and they need to spend some time to teach their children. And I'm telling the brothers and sisters clearly, if you cannot teach your children Al-Islam, then you have to leave any country where you reside in and go to other country where you can, or your children are taught that Islam is the right religion, Tawheed is the right theology, and we as Muslims different from other religions. This is the center. If that cannot be taught, I mean in its basic form, then the person should leave and should find another place to live in. We don't want to get into the issue of hijrah, but and maybe you know that I'm against it in generally speaking, but this particular point where the person, he sees his children confused in this matter, then I think these are red.
And this is not a little point. I mean, looking in the UK, majority of the second and third generation Muslims, say from an Asian, Pakistani, Indian background, many of the kids are disillusioned.
See, no, we have to be careful. If it is a matter of ignorance from their parents, because of their parents, and their parents are not educating them, then hijrah is not the solution for them, because their parents will be ignorant in the other country as well.
That's right.
But we are talking about a situation where the person cannot, by law or because of the environment, by other circumstances, cannot teach his children these principles, and his children are confused. He, at a certain point, he woke up and he found that his children are confused. They don't know what does Tawheed mean, what does Islam mean. Islam, Christianity, Judaism, Hinduism, Sikhism, all are the same. There is no difference. Then this person needs to take a serious action. And by the way, to be honest, I don't think that this situation does exist in most of the Western countries that we are aware of. France, Belgium, Holland, German. I don't think that, I haven't heard of such situation. I remember that Sheikh Ja'far Idris once told me that a similar situation used to take place in some Russian countries before the collapse of USSR.
The Caucasus especially, yeah.
Yeah. At that time, they were afraid to say that they are Muslims.
Yes.
And he even mentioned something, subhanAllah, very strange. He said that some of the elderly people, they used to bring a piece of cotton and prostrate on it. So the sujood does not leave any sign in their foreheads. So they will not be identified as Muslims.
SubhanAllah.
It was very extreme situation. But even Sheikh Ja'far said to me that he told them that although that situation does exist, however, I don't believe that Allah Jalla wa Ala put you in that situation out of nothing. You might be committing so many sins, and you might have been so ignorant towards your religion that you have reached to that situation, because Allah Jalla wa Ala is so merciful. So in general, we don't find, alhamdulillah, such situation in the West. So I don't want people to be confused between teaching the children
Excellent point, yeah.
and being able to teach them these principles, and their children are going astray because of other environmental issues and because of the ignorance and negligence of their parents.
Okay, Sheikh, can we just turn this slightly around now? What about the teachers, the Muslim brothers and sisters who are now working in education, but they work in a religious capacity, they're a teacher of religion. Are they not forced to teach all the religions on the same playing field, the same level playing field? What about this? Is this now darura for them?
Yeah, this is a very practical question, and many people do ask this question. First of all, as far as I know, at least let me speak about the UK. Many brothers working in this field, and none of them said that by law you have to teach that all religions are the same,
Okay.
and you have to abandon your theology. No. What they say that you have to teach all religion from an objective point of view. For example, you can say clearly, I believe that I am a Muslim, and I believe that Islam is the correct religion. However, you can express this.
So that's subjectively.
Clearly.
You can say that on a personal level.
On a personal level. But then they say that when you teach children, teach about Islam, teach about Judaism, teach about Christianity. Even in terms of criticizing some other religions, you can do that in a very clever way. For example, you can say, well, the main point about the main criticism against Christianity is the principle of Trinity, because it is a vague principle, and some people claim that it is not clear, and that's why so many Christians are saying this and that about their religion. And then you can also give some answers, which obviously those answers, whatever answer you give, it will not be a definite answer, and it will not be a convincing answer for the children. Same thing about Judaism. Now, also for Islam, you might say that, well, there is a criticism, the main criticism against Muslims, that they are violent and they are terrorists. And this, even if the authority people are listening to you, they will say, yes, he is talking about Islam from a very objective point of view, because they love to hear that someone is saying that, well, Islam is a violent religion, or this is the main criticism against Islam. And then you can say, well, Muslims defend that by saying so and so, and they are defending the point of Islam being a violent religion. As I told you, I don't believe, I haven't seen that, or I haven't heard that European countries have such laws where teachers have to abandon their religion and they have to teach all religions as if they are equal, and as if they don't believe that their own theology is the most correct theology.
Okay, so now we've come to, really we've just delved into the personal level of a person, how he has to now act, what his priorities are. I think that's a good place for us to stop. Inshallah, next time we may look into the communal area. Well, that's all the time we have for today on living in the West. But please do take it seriously. Please do take notes. A very interesting topic, something that many of us are maybe forced into and maybe need to really start and providing ideas to the community around us. So until next time, I'll leave you with Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.